Facial massage can do more than just give you a glow. It can enhance plastic surgery results. It can release tension in your hips and even impact, of course, your overall well-being. In this episode, I sit down with Jayme Berg, and she is a master of holistic facials. We explore how skin health goes far beyond the surface, perhaps all the way to the soul. So if you want to age gracefully, boost your skin's natural vitality, and finally understand what truly works, this episode is for you. Please hit subscribe, and let's uncover the power of skincare as self-care. Enjoy. Welcome to the Dean's List, engaging conversations at the intersection of entrepreneurship, artistic expression, and holistic health. Experience wellness in full color, where fashion, beauty, and art blend with body, mind, and soul. Embark on a journey that dresses your aspirations in style, paints your life with beauty, and sculpts your well-being in every dimension. This is the Dean's List, where inspiration is always in session. Welcome to the Dean's List, where we're illuminating the nexus of well-being, creative exploration, and entrepreneurial ambition. I'm your host, Allison Dean, and today we're peeling back the layers of holistic skincare and discovering how it can transform your life and your complexion with Jayme Berg, the founder of Xyyla Organic Skincare and Aesthetic Therapies. Jayme is not your average esthetician. No, she's not. She's a holistic self-care expert who spent over a decade blending nature, science, and pure passion into a practice where skin health meets soul care. I'm like, cue the soul care. I love that. From navigating the world of dermatology and medical spas to now championing sustainable nature-derived skincare, Jayme's journey proves that true beauty starts from the inside out. Welcome, Jayme.
Wow, thank you so much for the introduction. That was amazing. Okay. So much excitement and passion behind that. I appreciate that.
I mean, I just try and match your passion when you're like, making me age in reverse. So
hey, that's the goal, right?
All right. So I want to start off with just like the creation of Xyyla, because obviously you transitioned from medical aesthetics, which is fascinating, to now leading a holistic practice. So like, can you just talk about how that all took shape for you? You know, like walk us through maybe the timeline beats of it all. And let's start there.
So I originally got into aesthetics at a very young age. I think as a lot of us estheticians do, we have skin issues and concerns, right? I was a swimmer when I was young. And so that meant I was in pools all day long. Competitive swimming. And so with that brought about a ton of rashes, lots of rashes. And so back then, what I did for those concerns was go to a dermatology office.
Right.
So that then created a relationship with myself and my skin, however, completely different than what I'm doing now, right?
Yeah.
That relationship was I got a prescription, they put it on topically, and away we went. And then that kind of progressed as I aged into skin concerns from breakouts, and all the things as our hormones change and we kind of go through that transition period, right?
Yeah.
And so again, I had this great relationship with my dermatologist, and I would go and see him for all of my acne concerns, and he would put me on every single topical, ingested, antibiotic or pharmaceutical, which ultimately it led to me going on Accutane for acne.
Okay.
I mean, I never really had like super bad acne, but it was just prolonged acne, like really long, extended, like years. So anyway, like I got put on Accutane, I got put on every single topical, I got ingested all the antibiotics or all the prescription drugs, and they never really worked. And with that, years of pharmaceutical use, I developed chemical sensitivities. And this was years ago. So I didn't really realize like what was happening and why I was getting these chemical sensitivities. But after a long time, I had to go to like a less is more philosophy of skincare. Okay. I was using all of these things that everybody recommended for acne or for rashes, and it just was getting worse. And so when I took like a step back, I used organic skincare. I don't remember the line at the time. It was from like Vermont or something. And it was very, very aromatic of sulfur. Like it smelled bad, but it was great. It healed my skin at that time.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, all of that truly kind of built a relationship with skin and spirit, right? Like you kind of think, what was I using that wasn't working? How was my skin responding?
Yeah.
And how did I kind of mitigate the concern, right?
Right.
And so that's truly like where my relationship with myself and my skin started, was from really, really young, being a swimmer, having rashes, and my skin was communicating, hey, something's happening, right?
Yeah.
To then like having acne as an adolescent, to then kind of going to a less is more philosophy and completely removing like all chemicals from like my lifestyle, truly.
What inspired you to take that step back though? Like, w- did someone say something? Like, was it something that you arrived on your own where you're like, okay, I've been doing all this stuff to my face and to put inside my body, I'm going to just peel it all back. And you decided that for yourself? Or was there like some outside influence where you're like, oh yeah, I remember I read this thing, or I remember I met this person, or I remember I saw this ad, or I don't know. Like, was there just some influence where you're like, okay, I'm going to try the opposite of what I've been doing?
Well, like also in aesthetic school, I went when I was really young, like almost what, like 20 years ago. And so in aesthetic school, it's almost like a rite of passage that your skin freaks out because we're doing all this crazy stuff to our skin. And so even in aesthetic school, um, post like Accutane, they advise you to be using Cetaphil, basically, Aquaphor pretty much. And so that is like a step back from, say, a benzoyl peroxide, salicylic, tretinoin, all the things, right? And so in aesthetic school, I would always kind of go back to that less is more, but I would still have quite a few breakouts. And then truly, I believe it was my sister. Like we've kind of had very similar skin concerns,
Yeah.
where she too, I mean, had kind of like the same issues. And she kind of introduced me to that line in Vermont. We were actually living in Vermont at the time
Okay.
together. I
Okay.
lived there for a year with her. And so that truly kind of helped with like healing the skin. And then once I kind of rebuilt that microbiome and that barrier, I then went into other organic skincare. And then once I chose to go into aesthetics as like a career, that was the med spa world. And so in that industry, I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I wanted to use the skincare that I was selling and promoting and like really
Right.
hyping up. And I wanted to do all the treatments, right, that I was also promoting, selling, and people were spending a lot of money on.
Right.
And so I would do it, and I would literally, again, fry my face off. It's like I have to like try things like 3 times to truly believe that like it doesn't resonate with me. Like I'm like, no, let me just try it one more time, because this is it can't be me. Like everybody can do this, right? Like why can't I be like everybody else? But so yeah, like when I went into the med spa world, I tried all the things. I did all the medical grade skincare that are supposed to be phenomenal and that are made by like physicians and have all these science backed ingredients.
Yep.
And there was a time where like I literally had like tretinoin burns like on my neck because I'm like, pain is beauty. I got to build a tolerance. And I was like, no, like I can't keep doing this. And so then again, I would back off. I would use a more gentler approach. And maybe that's just like your intuition. Like, I don't want to have like this pain is beauty mentality. And I don't want to have like this tolerance that I have to build to use quote unquote a ingredient or a product. Right.
Right.
And so that's kind of like really where I found that, for some, the medical grade skincare and those treatments and products and ingredients worked phenomenally, but my intuition kind of let me know, hey, this might not be the right path for you. Like,
Mhm.
so, and then, yeah.
I no, I mean, that actually, it makes me think of, I had a friend who, she had like that porcelain, like gorgeous, just, she always had this gorgeous skin. You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
just that like stunning. And, And I remember she said to me, oh yeah, I'm seeing this new, it was like she went to a med spa and she was doing some kind of a laser. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, if I could do a laser and do like get that skin, like sign me up. And so I went, it was like Beverly Hills, like Lord knows it wasn't cheap, all that stuff. And I swear to you, I feel like well, maybe I'm like on the other side of it now, but there was like a long time where I feel like it created a lot of like spotting, where like
Mm-hmm.
those like really, I don't know. I just felt splotchy. I felt really so now of course I'm like
Yeah.
promoting up all the brightening stuff. I'm like
Right.
brighten my face. But no, I feel like there's so much to be said for that because I think for certain people they may be fine and it might be harmonious with them.
Right.
And then I think it also depends on like just how your whole system works. Like I just think that
Mm-hmm.
we're all so different and we're resilient in different ways when it comes to the things we can put inside our bodies, put on top of our bodies. And it's just, we need to take it as a sign when our bodies are saying that was stupid.
Yeah.
Or if your face is burning off, you're like, how about you don't do that again?
You
Yeah.
have slight little like burns on the neck and the creases and things like that. I tried to do it, and I would go to some trainings when I first started making that transition because I was still working as a medical SD when Xyyla was coming into fruition. And I would have to take time off. I'm like, oh, I just want to see some family.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what this esthetician said, but she basically kind of said that I'd like put my skin through the ringer, right? Like it looked like it had gone through some stuff.
Yeah.
And back then I'm like, oh, I got this huge pain tolerance. Have at it. But now I know, like, if I was to attempt to do any of that, my skin would not be very happy. Some people can tolerate it, and that's a beautiful thing. And some people, it resonates with them. But for those that want, a more gentler approach, more nurturing approach, a more like soothing and really allowing the skin to kind of innately function how it's supposed to function, which is truly like, I mean, when I say that, I get lots of compliments on my skin now. That didn't happen when I was a medical esthetician. And before, like, say a couple months ago, I have dabbled in lasers again. I think we've talked about this. But I hadn't done a microdermabrasion treatment. I hadn't done a dermaplaning treatment. I hadn't had a lab-derived acid on my skin or ingredient on my skin since like 2018. And that is where like I allowed my microbiome to flourish, function how it's supposed to function, truly heal, which for me took many, many years. And with that being said, then that just kind of radiancy, it occurs, and like the skin can do what it's supposed to do. Your systems can kind of support the skin's innate functions.
Yeah.
And you can get that porcelain skin, right?
Well, I mean,
I would say I have porcelain skin, but
yours is like, you have great skin. You have great skin. Okay. So all this happened. You were working in the med spa space. What was the impetus to then say, okay, I'm leaving this behind and I'm going to start Xyyla? Like, what was that then transition for you?
Yeah, I want to say, probably within the med spa space, it all could have been like what med spa I was working into. I can say that some of my bosses at the time were not the most amazing, but with that being said, you take with that and you're like, if I become a boss, I won't be doing this, and this, right?
Amen.
But, or the lasers that I was working on. I always say too that sometimes like the treatment is a direct reflection of the one delivering said treatment too, and how quality the lasers are. There's been lots of advances in that world since I was in it, and I've kind of stepped out. But while I was in that world, one of the questions that you kind of have to ask individuals or females is if they're pregnant or breastfeeding. And if they are, they shouldn't be doing this, and this.
Okay.
And I was like, well, even if I'm not pregnant or breastfeeding, why would I want to be doing that, and that? Like, why would I want to continue to use said ingredients if when we're creating life, they kind of advise against it?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So that then kind of makes you think, like, what is really in skincare, right?
Yeah.
And so you kind of go into this little rabbit hole of all the ingredients and what is allowed in the US, say, compared to other countries. And then also, so that's one component, is kind of like diving into ingredients, right? I want to kind of reduce my chemical exposure as much as possible, because if you really kind of think of things, we as individuals have it thrown at us from the time we rise the time we go to bed, to then even like when you're sleeping, because what you wash your sheets in at the same time, right? So, yeah, I wanted to reduce my chemical exposure, was one. And then two, like while I was in the med spa world, I was sending clients away, advising them to stay out of the sun for 7 days, post laser peel, sit in your dark room or your dark house. Sometimes they were bleeding or like on fire. And I was like, is this what I really want? Like, do I want to continue this? So there were those. And then also with that came like some of the results. You have a controlled environment with exactly what we're doing at that time. But what people do outside of that controlled environment, you don't have, right?
Right.
And so their lifestyle plays into completely the results that they'll get as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes they don't want to hear that. And so, yeah, like the results, I didn't feel warranted kind of the price point of said procedures. And again, this was when I was working in it. It can totally be different now because I'm not in it, and advancements of machines and etc.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I just didn't really enjoy the idea of sending my clients away with kind of just hermiting for like 7 to 10 days. I mean, they couldn't like increase their internal body temperature, which means like you can't really detox if you want. You can't like work out if you want, or you're advised against that. But then, yeah, just kind of, sitting in a dark space for like 7 to 10 days isn't really my idea of quote unquote wellness. Right. So that, and then also I left that industry just based off of kind of the expectations and, kind of the pressure that's being placed on individuals these days. It is hard to live up to what, social media has provided, the pressure of beauty standards to, celebrities. I mean, it's beautiful to see now celebrities kind of taking a stance and embracing the, pro-aging process.
Shout out to Anderson.
But, those years, not many people were doing that.
Right.
And so I just kind of that, cross-promoting of what I was doing to, say, a nurse or a physician who was doing fillers and injectables, I didn't really feel aligned with my philosophy of skincare and my philosophy of beauty and the expectations, truly. So that's when I was like, this isn't in alignment with me anymore. I can't continue this. And I love the relationships I built when in those settings I was doing facials. I love the massage component, and people seem to resonate with that as well. So that's when I was like, we got to figure something out because this isn't in alignment anymore. Yeah.
And then the birth of Xyyla happened.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I was still working in the med spa world, and I started to take classes. I first discovered, holistic aesthetics through Angela Peck, and she's out of Northern California. She's a holistic esthetician that kind of really put like holistic skincare on the map. And I just found her through the power of social media. I don't know what I was Googling or how it came to be, but I knew like I liked organic skincare. So maybe that's what I Googled, like organic facials, organic skincare. I don't know for sure. But I found her and I reached out to her, and unfortunately we didn't connect through training, but then I found Cecily Braden, and she was my first like holistic. I went and did the, she didn't even have her stone at the time. So she also creates stones and does a ton of trainings now. But yeah, I think one of Cecily's very first, it was a gua sha with a really big stone and the tierable poultice training. And then from there you meet like-minded SDs and you kind of chit chat, and then that just kind of rolls into other trainings. And yeah, so I did a few trainings. I discovered Laurel also, I think, through some fellow SDs, and Laurel's the skincare that I use. And I knew when I wanted to create Xyyla that the skincare was needed to be in alignment. The values, the morals, the ethics, all needed to be in alignment with what we're doing in studio as well. And also I wanted a company that really valued partnership, because there are some people that will or companies that will have, like their brand with a lot of SDs on every single corner. And so when finding Laurel, they wanted to also make sure that that partnership was, equal, right? They wanted their SCs to be equally like in alignment with their company and their ethics as much as I am with theirs. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's good. Okay, now for those listening or watching, in your view, what does holistic skincare mean?
Holistic skincare. Holistic skincare is kind of like just looking at the skin as a whole. And that could be everything from like your, the skin truly is our largest communication organ, right? And so when you go to a derm, in my experiences, they look at you, they provide you with a script, and then on your way.
Right.
But truly, the skin is actually communicating an internal off balance, maybe, that, more or less is using the system as a whole to address any issues or concerns.
Yep.
And so that could be anything from how you speak to yourself, how you speak to others, the water that you drink, the amount of water that you drink, to the foods you eat, to your, your rest. Rest is really big. Could also be how your detox is equally as important.
Yeah.
That's different for everybody. But it truly comes down to also, holistic skincare as, a relationship with skin, spirit, and self, like it's, like also if things arise now, I kind of reflect back on, well, what happened? What changed? How is my like eating? How is my stress levels? Did I indulge at Christmas time? And now I have this amazing zit to like, yes. And now I know like, hey, it'll probably be gone in 2 days. I'll probably have a little scar, which now as a holistic esthetician, I know I can kind of just flush out. It'll take some time, but, that is kind of, skincare as a whole. A lot of what I do is nervous system work, and that's a direct reflection of the skin as well.
Yes.
And a really big guiding consideration in this space.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing too. It all kind of has to work together harmoniously. Like everything is connected, basically. It's all
Everything
connected.
is connected. Yeah, it's a vast network of connectivity, right? Like it's all a vibrational unit. And all the systems work together. I always say I'm like the SD that works with the systems that support how the skin is functioning. It's those very, very delicate systems that some people, it's becoming more, talked about, but lots of times like I'm using those systems that really feed and support how the skin is functioning or communicating.
Yeah.
And I love working with those very delicate systems.
We love that you do. When you started Xyyla, were there any like risks that you were taking or anything that you can reflect back on as like maybe something that was challenging, but something that you overcame and like now in retrospect, it was like a really good lesson for you? Is there anything like that? Yeah.
Yeah. I think when I started Xyyla, I didn't talk about it.
Oh.
I started and sometimes you talk about it maybe to your clients, right? But you don't really budget for like marketing at that time either.
Yeah.
But you also, for me, I don't talk like, hey, I'm an esthetician, come see me. Hey, I'm gonna, come see me. Hey. And so sometimes just talking about it was a challenge for me. Truly, I think I'm really good at what I do. I just sometimes have a hard time expressing that and telling people like, hey, you should totally come see me. So yeah, just kind of getting it out there, marketing. You tell a lot of people and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to come for sure. Yeah. And then you're like, like, and then you're like, how does the internet work or how does social media work? So that was a challenge is, just literally, opening the doors and getting clients in the door. Right.
Yeah.
There were some that came and I'm forever grateful. And then it's, it kind of continues to grow too, trickle and ripple and, for sure. So, other challenge, I come from like an entrepreneurial family, so that's very common. Like the 9-to-5 is not really how I grew up or what I grew up in.
Yeah.
And so I kind of always knew, also based off of my performance, maybe with my past bosses or something, but I knew like I don't like to be told what to do or when I can go on vacation.
Right. Amen.
So
Amen. Yeah.
yeah. So I kind of knew like, I would probably at some point work for myself. Like that,
Right.
it's just my mom had like a restaurant that she was a part of, and I'm like the fourth generation. If I chose to dip into that, that's what it would be. But I'm not. My dad had his own businesses, and my two sisters, they had a business too. So it was taking the risk on myself, truly, just kind of like trusting in myself that I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then implementing it, right?
Were you the first holistic skincare person in Phoenix?
That's funny you say that because someone came in the other day and they're like, yeah, I Googled holistic aesthetics or organic aesthetics and some things pop up, but they're like, there's nothing about this that is organic or holistic. And so I don't know. I believe maybe there might have been one, but like a true, like
Yeah.
holistic, limited chemical exposure, from like what we use for towels to washing to products to literally like no lab isolated, lab derived, absolutely no machines.
Mm-hmm.
When I started, I was offering, dermaplaning, but I chose that that's no longer a part of this practice. So truly, like a true holistic space, possibly. But can I say for certain? I don't know.
I love that. I love that you just brought up dermaplaning because I recall. I recall the time when I texted you after a treatment. I was like, "Did you dermaplane?" Because my skin was just, for everyone out there, my skin felt like it was the smoothest I had ever felt it in, I don't know, like, I don't know how long. And I was convinced that she eliminated like all of the micro hairs on my face. And she
Then
was
I
like,
put
no.
you to sleep, and then I dermaplaned you without acknowledgement, authorization,
I
and
know,
having
like,
to
it would
sign
never
the
work
form.
out.
No,
That's how good Jayme is you'll think you
honestly,
had a dermaplane
exactly.
because I didn't want a
Yeah,
dermaplane. I mean, I think actually, it would be nice to talk a little bit about just because I feel like so many people are doing this right now. And look, if people are happy with it, hey, choose your own adventure, do the things
yeah,
that you enjoy. But I think it's also important for people to understand in my brain, at least the reason why I was like, no, no, no. I immediately just thought I was going to grow back a beard or like,
right.
I would have just like crazy hairs coming out of my face. I was like, like, risk reward. I was kind of like, I'm good. I don't need it. And also, I don't wear makeup, like heavy makeup enough where, because I feel like that's maybe one of the drivers for some people is like
Mhm.
that smooth like makeup finish. It just like it wasn't a pull for me, but maybe you can just share a little bit about like what you've seen with the dermaplane or just like why maybe it doesn't resonate for you.
Yeah. So what dermaplaning is yeah, you're using a medical grade scalpel and basically kind of just right on the layer of skin, which does remove that vellus hair and the top layer of skin. So it is vellus hair. So there's, different types of hair. So the vellus hair is that type of hair. It's that baby fine hair. So if you're removing vellus hair, then it will regrow as vellus hair. However, it's bluntly removed. So it does feel slightly kind of, the texture is different. Now, if you have a little bit more coarse hairs, where sometimes it can occur, that hair will grow back that same type of hair. So that misconception, you hear it a lot.
Okay.
But truly, somehow we've gotten into this space where people are excessively exfoliating. They're
Yeah.
exfoliating with their cleansers nightly. They're then using an exfoliating pad of AHA or BHA. They're
Yeah.
then doing another physical exfoliant 3 days later. And then 3 days after that, they're using a retinol. And
Ooh.
so what that's doing is it's constantly causing that outermost layer of skin to slough off or exfoliate off, right?
Yeah.
And so what dermaplane does is it's also removing that outermost layer of skin.
Yep.
And so what constant or excessive exfoliation can do is it can prematurely expose those layers of skin to the elements before they're truly ready. It's, if you imagine like your outermost layer of skin, kind of like, this is a great analogy. I don't know who brought it to my attention, but like the roof of your home, right?
Okay.
That serves a purpose. That's there to keep everything inside. We don't want it exposed to the environmental elements, right?
Yep.
And then it keeps the rain, sleet, snow, dirt, whatever outside, and not inside the house. And so if you think of your outermost layer of skin like that roof,
Yep.
you want to have that protection. You want to keep all those layers of skin that are like really still functioning for you and doing what they're supposed to do, healthy and nurtured and hydrated. And then that outermost layer of skin keeps environmental factors out, like dust, dirt, all this stuff, right? What we pick up throughout the day.
Yep.
And if you prematurely like remove from vellus or from dermaplaning,
Yeah.
then those premature cells have to kind of thicken to overcompensate for being exposed prematurely, right?
Oh.
So people who dermaplane typically, in my experience, are chronically dehydrated because they have transepidermal water loss, because they're constantly losing it because they've sloughed off skin before it's ready to be sloughed off. And then it's also being exposed to the elements prematurely. And so it thickens and the texture changes. And so they're oftentimes also very much addicted to dermaplaning because they have it done. Their skin feels great for 24 to 48 hours. And then like, I'm dry, it's thick. And I'm like, your microbiome and your skin barrier has been compromised from over exfoliating.
Right.
And so again, like your cells slough off like every 30-ish days, as we continue to kind of mature and get wiser. It's 30 to 40-ish days, right? It's still having some cellular turnover.
Right.
And also as like a holistic esthetician, I sometimes ask my clients to take note of that turnover process. Take note of when your skin starts to feel slightly like texture or thicker or and then maybe like let it sit for a minute, because in 2 days it might slough off on its own. I hope that answers why I don't do dermaplaning. And also, quite frankly, I'll be real, I don't want the liability of having a medical grade scalpel in my hand.
Amen to that too. It made me think of the years that I was doing peels. Like
this is the same.
Yeah, like once a month. And I do remember when I would go back in for like my next one, I think the comment was always like, oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. What'd they say? Like something was thick. Like, oh yeah, it's whatever, like the topmost layer. I don't know. They used a word. And it's like, now what you're saying is making like, that's resonating in my brain. Cause I'm like, oh, it's cause I was doing so much destruction to my top layer of skin that it was like thickening up and like getting kind of, oh, wow.
So we're compensating for kind of, we as humans love to complicate things. That's what I also say. We love to complicate things. And so then as we complicate things, the skin likes to compensate and has to kind of figure out, hey, like we got to kind of figure out what's happening. So then it kind of really thickens to offer some barrier and protection. But yeah, it's when we kind of take a step back and let it truly function that it then is able to do what it's supposed to do.
Oh, wow. I mean, I just like feel like I hope people listening right now are like things are lighting up in their brains depending on what they're doing to their skin. Okay, so you talked a little bit about Cecily Braden as like one of the first kind of classes, things that you took. I want to talk a little bit about like how that particular modality influenced, how you brought different things into your practice. But then also, I think it's cool to share some of the other people that you trained with and kind of like, now you've got this very amazing catalog of techniques that I don't necessarily know that all estheticians in the maybe more holistic space have done all the things that you've done. So I think it's really cool to share a little bit about them because they're all very different. And I think people don't necessarily understand why all those things work in harmony together to kind of support, making us all look good.
Yeah. So Cecily was the first educator in my holistic space. After Cecily, I was introduced to Anne from Aztec. And
Okay.
Anne is the Water School of Manual Lymphatic Drainage. She is truly kind of like a mentor to me. That is one class. I took the Water School of Manual Lymphatic Drainage for face and neck 1 and 2, so I'm advanced certified. And then I also took connective tissue with her as well. But she and her training truly changed my philosophy of skincare. That
Wow.
is when things shifted. That is
Okay.
when everything that I've learned from aesthetic school to laser school, to truly kind of how we've thought of the skin really shifted for me. And that's when my practice shifted truly as well.
Okay.
It's just, again, going back to those really delicate systems that are so important that, and when they're truly supported, they just work with you versus against you.
Yeah.
But yeah, after Anne, I also took, a Vietnamese facial reflexology Dien Chen class. So that's kind of like foot reflexology, but done on the face. So I did that as well. And then I believe one of my last trainings was the intraoral buccal massage modality with Yakov. And that one was great as well. I learned great foundation. The nice thing with all of these, aside from Anne, is that the foundation is there. I'm so grateful for having the foundation and the experience and the training and the education. And kind of how I switch things up in Xyyla is that I don't do anything exactly, except for maybe like some of the water like methodology, right?
Right.
But nothing is exactly done as I've been taught in those trainings. And I feel like that's really important to like my success as an esthetician. And then also maybe the success of somebody who might be listening to this. Yeah, nothing is done exactly as I've been learned or taught
Right.
and learned, right?
Yeah.
And so I love that, truly, like love that as well. But and then, I pick up things from, they're not exactly, I'm going to a class and paying to learn from them, but I pick up and just trying to learn as much as I can from, say, providers who offer me support. That could be from acupuncture, that could be from the NMD, that could be from my massage therapist. Those people are also my physical therapists, things like that too. So those individuals support me on my journey as well.
I want to talk about the intraoral stuff.
Yeah.
What was the driver for you to go down that path?
Let me think. Honestly, I think it was social media, and I was like, what does this training need to be a part of
Mm.
it? you
Mhm.
know? Um,
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the time I'm like, I need to get it all in. I need to have it all under my belt. And
Right.
some resonate more with others. And then some clients come in and they need this modality over that modality, or they need a little bit of both. So you can never have too many modalities in your toolkit, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
honestly, I think again, I saw him on social media. It looked phenomenal. It's completely different as it's a massage modality that massages the face from the inside of the mouth and the outside simultaneously.
Yeah.
But what I do in my intraoral buccal is again, not his methodology for
It's
sure.
Jameified. Yeah. Right.
Jamified,
Yeah.
xylified for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Xylified. Xylified. So maybe, I mean, we've had Jenny McAteer on, so shout
Yeah.
out. But maybe you can also talk a little bit about the benefits. So if people haven't heard that episode, the benefits of getting inside the mouth as it relates to your skin treatments, because I think it might make some people nervous, or it might, just kind of
Yeah.
sound weird.
So that method can be a very intimate method for
Yes.
sure. As you mentioned, I have a finger inside of the mouth at one point or another while we're offering this service or treatment, right?
Right.
And so as we talk about like the face and tension, the face holds a lot of feelings, emotion, tension, right?
Yeah.
Also, the masseter area is a very big, strong muscle.
Right.
And I don't think people realize like how overworked or how overactive or maybe how much tension is being stored in that space until maybe you're like, whoa, I didn't really realize I needed a masseter massage like that, right? So people sometimes kind of aren't even aware of how much tension might be stored there until you're offered such a service. But it is, you want to have like a provider that is trusting and that you have a connection with, because it can be intimate. It can maybe kind of be like the dentist. I don't like the dentist. But also, the TMJ, which is another component of the masseter, can get very tight as well, and restrictive. And so when you kind of go in there, we're not only working the masseter, because the face doesn't work in singularity, right?
Okay.
We need to kind of support, everything from your frontalis muscles to your temporalis muscles that also lie like in the scalp, to, your sphenoid bone, which helps with symmetry. It also helps with kind of creating a lot of space for like your sinuses to drain.
Yes.
There's also a lot of veins and arteries and nerves that kind of drain from like this area, right? And so we go in and we kind of support all of the supporting areas that can directly relate to here. And so after we've kind of done like the top of the face, we then kind of rotate and do a release of the platysma. And the platysma, is a muscle that kind of connects below the collarbone here and goes all the way up. And so sometimes we have concerns with like jowls or heaviness in the face, right? And so we want to kind of release this area and lift this area. And so also then we kind of work on, the jowl area, and then we roll into like the masseter and really work on releasing and supporting maybe an overactive or overworked muscle. I should also note that, the masseter is also, the meridians are connected to your sacral units, which is your hip and pelvic space. And it's been said that your hips and your pelvic space is the storage space for all the feelings, emotion, tension, trauma, and fear. And that could be from yesterday, that could be from 6 months ago, or that could be from two years ago to when you were 2 months old and you have no idea. As we've kind of, the wellness space has talked about stored trauma, right? And how that directly relates to overall wellness and kind of like constitution. These things can be stored there. So sometimes when you do work in this area, people feel it all the way down into their hip and pelvic, all the way down to their ankles and their feet, because it's all connected. We are all a connected unit. And so that kind of goes into, holistic aesthetics and how the facial is not really just a facial. We're truly treating the body as a whole to really offer you support and nourishment. But then also when we go back to the face and, kind of skincare, fluid on the face kind of drains from the center and it goes out and it has to kind of pass through this, I kind of call it like a malfunction junction. It can really get jammed up and not work great if it's really tight or inflamed or overworked or overactive. There's not much glide and movement. Or if you release a lot of that tension, then it flows really well and you have optimal drainage down, right? And so, fluid goes from center out down like your sternocleidomastoid here and into your terminus here, which is your main dumping station for lymphatic fluid. So as we talk a lot about like drainage, the intraoral buccal massage is phenomenal for bringing fluid back, like blood flow back to the treated area, bringing lymph back to the treated area, and then also to the brain. Again, we go back into the brain health. We want to reduce inflammation of the brain and then really improves, again, vitality and wellness. So, not only like skincare, but you can do this for TMJ. You can do this for clenching, grinding, tension headaches. If you have tension headaches up here, you got to work here as well. And releasing a lot of this tinnitus, so like ringing of the ears. But the more you reduce inflammation in the brain, truly things can you can have a little switch.
I mean, I feel like that was one of the best PSAs for seeing you that you could do, because it's like you just hit on all the things. It's like, oh, you want your brain to function better, you want your whole like life to function better. Like, you just probably need to come see me.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you should. Okay, so back to like you kind of teed me up for this one, but because it is all connected, right? So everything in our bodies, it all needs to work harmoniously together. And you've talked to me about this, but the emphasis of like just a self-care ritual, like, I mean, Jayme, you're so lovely. And the times with Allison, you take your gua sha and do the, and it's like, oh, it's so lovely how purposeful and how inspiring you are, and yet just how lazy I can be with some
Oh.
of this stuff. Right. but okay, but I want to really I want to talk a little bit about like just the ritual part of it, and how well, maybe other clients, like maybe I'm not a great example of it, but how you guide your clients understand that doing these rituals are really important and necessary to like overall wellness. And I think
Yeah.
talking a little bit about that is key, because I think it's something special about, some of your offering. But then I also think it'd be interesting if you have any memorable stories of like any of your clients where you could really, well, maybe they told you like, oh, hey, I started doing this and like this is what happened, right? Like that kind of a thing. Or maybe they didn't tell you, but you witnessed it because you just saw something and you're like,
Mm.
oh. So either way, but like, let's talk a little bit about rituals.
I think sometimes like people get so fixated on like a ritual. I'm gonna pick up off of what you just said.
Okay.
I do not practice what I preach all the time.
Right.
Me doing, I love to sleep. And so me getting up to do a 2 hour ritual, it's not happening right now. It might happen in 2 years, where that's where my life is at. But right now in my life,
Sleep.
that 2 year ritual of getting up, meditating, lemon water, gua sha, 20-minute LED mask, no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes finding ritual or wellness and where you're at,
Yeah.
it can be as simple as, a few like nice words of affirmation in your cleansing process.
Yep.
We talk like we're always advised to talk like really nice to our plants, right? Like, we're going to grow, I'm going to water you, we're going to really flourish this month, da da da. And so sometimes just saying a few little like nice things in the cleansing process is the ritual that we need right now.
Okay.
Because we can be bombarded with like all the things to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just like, well, our cortisol has raised and we've completely like lost that idea of doing this wellness ritual because we're so stressed out on one, did we do it?
Yeah.
2, did we do it correct?
Right.
Like, am I doing the right steps? Is the pressure right? All those things, right? And so sometimes that ritual of just nice words of affirmation, your cleansing process are great.
Yeah.
Other rituals that, some people really want to do like the full routine and they, start like, I'm like, whatever resonates with you. Some people say do it in the morning. Some people say do it in the evening. When you feel that it resonates with you is when I highly recommend you do it.
Yeah.
Also, where you want to do it. I am not standing in front of my mirror 24/7 doing these rituals. If I find that me sitting on my sofa watching a television show and I'm gua shaing is when I want to do it, that's when I do it as well. Or like if it's sitting on my nightstand and I just kind of grab it before I like lay down for a little bit, that's okay too. And then also, like some people are like, well, I got to do it and then I got to wash it and da da da. And I was like, well, that's like your stone, right? Like you're not sharing that with anybody that has your microbiome on it. And so I wouldn't be so like, oh, I got to get up and make sure I wash it so that because then that kind of adds stress, right? And so sometimes like just taking a step back and like when it resonates with you, do it. And when and where, just great. Also, like I do a lot of stuff in my car too. My hands are not clean. I'm rolling around, but I'm aware at the same time, right? So, I should touch back on like my hands are not clean. Like I try to have clean hands at most times and clean surfaces when I'm doing these things, but I'm not like stressing over that because also that kind of goes back into like everybody's terrified of bacteria. But we digress.
We No, but I feel like no, but it's interesting that you say that. Like when you're in your car, and I mean, you said to do this, when I'm in my car, just like
rolling
all the
technique.
different like rolling that you can do, and I mean, as long as you don't have like a gaping wound on your neck, I
Yeah.
feel like it's not the end of the world if you don't have the cleanest hands in these moments
Well, I
because you're
use like
not.
a spray or yeah,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
yeah. So and then also the masking ritual is amazing. That is
Mm,
sometimes where if you're a bath girly and you want to create that ritual of bath, amazing hydrosols, you put an amazing mask on.
yeah,
And with the Laurel masks, they're great because they require a little bit of time, and they also require a little bit of getting to know the products. And then you're kind of almost like a little like chemist over there, like mixing the mask with the water and getting this perfect paste. And so it's not just like slapping something on, right? You're kind of really nurturing that process,
yeah,
and then applying nicely, and then kind of sitting like in the bath and creating this ritual of masking and relaxation. Maybe you're dry brushing at the same time, which is great for lymphatic support. Also, with this line and kind of what I do and how I approach things organically, people sometimes come to me and they're like, "Oh, all I've done is used water, slap some water on my face, and that's it."
wow,
But then we kind of send them home with like a little travel pack where they get to, experience the line without committing to the large products.
right,
And they come back to me and they're, this is like my most important part of my day. Like I can't wait to walk in the house, wash my face and get ready. And it just organically happens. And I believe that's because the products are from Mother Nature, right?
yeah,
These are truly a product line that will resonate for most, if it resonates with you, in a way that another product line hasn't. And it's allowing Mother Nature to provide for you, right?
yeah,
And support you on your journey.
yeah.
So
That's a
those
beautiful.
rituals, I've experienced quite a bit. I'm sure there's more, but
That's an interesting example of like customers that may have gone from not really having an attachment to just their own self-care to introducing a plant-based lovely holistic line like Laurel, and suddenly they have something that really is something that they look forward to doing. Are there any more stories like that that come to mind of just a ritual, any kind of ritual that you've perhaps dropped into someone's life where they were like, "Oh, this had such a great effect on me."
in regards to probably treatment wise,
Yep.
sometimes if you're a first time client with me, we sit, we chat, we consult, we kind of go over what to expect, and tears can sometimes start to flow, right? Like people just have like this pressure that's sitting on them, and it's the expectations to the unknowns, to the fears,
Yeah.
to all the things. And so they're just truly like grateful to be in a space where I ask them to just truly disconnect for like the next 2 hours
Yeah.
and turn off the mind and welcome this, 2 hours of self-care and nourishment, so that you can then kind of represent yourself and maybe show up how you truly want to without kind of feeling like you're burdened or lots of weight on your shoulders. So some things like that happen. I have also some release during treatments as well. And unless clients talk to me about it, I just kind of let it happen. And so, yeah, and that can also look like little tears. It could be tears of happiness, tears of release, tears of things that you didn't really know that you needed to release. To post, kind of long haul symptoms from the past few years. People have come in with like really intense congestion. And then, we go on an intensive together. We really work on breaking that down, and their symptoms kind of resolve themselves because it's your body
Yeah.
that we're offering lots of nourishment for, right? It's going into that nervous system support where we're exiting that like fight or flight state that the body is constantly kind of living in,
Yeah.
and exiting more of that and entering that parasympathetic state where the body can truly rest, heal, recover, and repair, right? So that too, I've worked with, I've had some wonderful gals who are like, I'm really trying to get pregnant. And they're also seeing, I love working and having like a supportive unit. So they're also seeing maybe like an NMD or something.
Yep.
But they come in, they're trying to get pregnant, and then they get pregnant, then they have their baby. And then I'm like, whoa, this is amazing, So who knows, right? But at the same time, it's nice to be a part of that.
I think this is something really special, or at least I think it's interesting that it's something that's highlighted on your website that, and you talked about pregnancy just now, so that's one of it, but clients that could be, prenatal, postnatal, it could be someone that has hormonal imbalances, people that are undergoing oncology treatments, and really being able to tailor the treatment to those people and what their needs are at that time. I think you should talk a little bit about that too, just because I think it really is a differentiator for you, Jayme. Like, it's something that I don't know that that all estheticians do, or all estheticians feel comfortable with. So share a little bit about just some of that nuance, maybe of just, how you customize these things or what you found to be supportive in these different situations.
On my menu of services, I don't really have,
No.
an anti-aging facial. I don't have a brightening facial. I don't have an acne facial. I don't have, all of those kind of quote unquote. I don't have a pumpkin enzyme facial. I don't, the seasonal stuff. And that's because in this space, it's truly getting your systems functioning for you. And then when those systems function for you and are functioning optimally, those concerns kind of resolve themselves. At the same time, though, when I'm speaking with you, whether it be your first facial or we've been seeing each other for years, I ask how things are going, right? And so sometimes people are like, I just need to relax. Sometimes people come in and they're like, gosh, it's been really heavy. And so there are some modalities that are more nurturing and more supportive. And so then we kind of work out those modalities versus say like myofascia fascia work can be kind of slightly uncomfortable. I wouldn't do that with say someone who's like really needing a lot of nourishment. And a lot of relaxation, right? And so when it comes down to, hormonal imbalances, your nervous system and lymphatic system plays a really, really big role in that. So the goal is just to get that system functioning and as fluid as possible. And so with that, we might do an extended lymph support, right? Oncology, that's, immunity that can be super compromised, suppressed, and less is more. You want to offer nourishment during those times, right? Because they can be very sensitive and reactive. For sure.
Yeah. Do you have any standout stories that you can think of in that realm?
With oncology or pregnancy or
anyone that's going through something where you really had to customize something or you really had to offer something and you just really knew that it.
A lot of those sometimes. I did have an oncology client. She came in, she found me through Google. She switched their entire skincare line. Unfortunately, she's no longer with me, but her husband came in to see me because he was like, my wife used your products. I used your products. And I wanted to know what this experience was like. And so my daughter, who I also see, came in to see me. And so I've kind of seen the whole family.
I love that.
And so just kind of being a part of that, that cleansing ritual. Right. And then it becomes, where he gets to kind of remember that experience with his wife. Is super sweet. And he's like, I don't even know what to expect, but he really enjoyed it. And then, as far as my intraoral buccal massage, I have pretty great success with releasing a lot of tension in that space. And oftentimes I have individuals who have been doing a lot, and it could be from chiropractic care to PT care to, a TMJ specialist, to individuals who are maybe going through expansion of the mouth, but working with their provider. And that like intraoral buccal massage modality, it offers a lot of tension for a lot of things that are happening in that space.
Yeah.
And a lot of release occurs for sure. There's lots of stories where people are like, oh my God, I have never felt this release ever from a treatment. And they see a lot of providers. And I love piggybacking on what the provider is doing as well. So lots of intraoral buccal massage support for sure. I do just have some people who come for nervous system support. They want to sleep.
They just want to rest. Yeah.
They want to rest.
They want to rest.
And
they
so those are intensives that are really designed to offer nervous system support, and then like the added bonus is skincare, truly.
Right. You get a really nice nap, and you get to wake up glowing.
And I'll do all the work, and then the next couple of days your skin will be glowing. You didn't even realize you were going to get that.
Yeah. No, that's a beautiful thing.
I mean, there's another story where a gentleman was coming to me, and he's like, my wife says I snore. I don't think I snore. And so it's more intraoral buccal to release a lot of tension and inflammation. And he's like, I don't know what it does, but you support my drainage passageways. I'm like, yes, I do.
That's amazing. Okay, so no more breathe right strips. You just need to see Jayme for that too.
Support. You can probably use the breathe right strips too. But
I know, but those things really hurt, Jayme. Like they're like kind of aggressive on the skin. Like they're really I feel like they're like dermaplaning your skin when you peel them off. So
let's talk about face taping. Yes, no.
Do you want to talk about face taping?
I would love to love face taping, but like my little delicate skin barrier.
I haven't done it. Like, I just feel like I feel like I'm going to mess it up and like end up with like a worse situation happening. Cause I
did try it. I did mess it up. And then I had nice little patches of redness.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like I wanted to love it, as somebody who tries
things
to be preventative and pro-aging, and I get it, like that's a process, but I want to support the process as well as, most of the people who come to see me. And if face taping is what people are doing to stop the wrinkles from happening, then we're going to give it a shot. But there's chemicals in tape and adhesive. And unfortunately for me, again, like I just...
doesn't work. It
doesn't work. And even with sensitive skin tape, it was still just kind of a little aggressive.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. Should we talk about your focus on sustainability? Since I feel like sustainability is something that is a strong word in your practice. So do you want to talk a little bit about what sustainability means to you, or just how you've incorporated it, or how you want to ensure that you're being sustainable with Xyyla?
Yeah, gosh. No one's really asked me this, and sometimes I forget that it's on my website, but sustainability. So I don't like, for me personally, me accumulating like menus or business cards. I do print business cards. That's the one thing I do print. But I don't print menus. I really limit single-use printing. I find people look at it and just kind of gets tossed to the side. And now with, internet at our fingertips, it's really just kind of available, right?
Right.
So that's one way that, I try to be sustainable. Another way is, from detergents that are used, we want to be environmentally friendly as well. So there's no like chemicals in like the detergents that are used. The towels, those are bamboo as well and organic. So really kind of limiting, bleached cotton, to some of the bedding. It's Koyuchi, which is an amazing sustainable brand that's US based, right? There are some sheets that are not Koyuchi, but for the most part, we do our best.
Yeah.
To Laurel sends me all these amazing products that are wrapped very nicely and I reuse. So if you've ordered from me, I am reusing her packaging because why would I throw all that away? It's like
No.
sent from me from a great space and then I save it and I reuse that as well. And that's kind of listed on my website. So you might not get like the most amazing, beautiful packaging, but there's intention behind it.
Love it.
I mean, gosh, to cleaning products or, we want to kind of also limit chemical exposure.
Absolutely.
I mean, even down to your toilet paper is bamboo based in this space.
Hey, it all counts.
I do my best. I try when I can. But then again, like I have clients who are like, I cannot have bleach on my body. I cannot have anything, no fragrances.
Amen.
That's another thing, so really limit fragrance in this space as much as sometimes you want to smell yummy. It can literally put people into inflammation for sure. And I have a lot of those clients who they can't find that anywhere else. And so that's important to me for sure. What else might I do? I try also, my decorations are pretty sustainable. Like I'm not buying stuff on all the time. Like I'm very minimal in that sense. I love a good white wall, with like a good, piece of artwork or something. I offer tea and those are in sustainable cups and things like that. I would love for you to bring your reusable mug in, but
yeah, that's right. Well, now that you say that, we will, everyone that's listening, bring your to-go mug because it'll fill it up. I think that's fine. I think that's an easy one. I think that's an easy one,
sustainable
Jayme.
is such a broad, like big,
I know it is
broad kind of statement, right? Of course you want to try to recyclable when you can and things like that, but
sure.
we do our best, where we can.
It's in your just the DNA of Xyyla. It's just you're paying attention to these things. I think the laundry stuff is such a big deal because that is something I become so hypersensitive to. And it really turns me off when any place that I go to is using like the Downy or like the Tide. And I'm just like, can we please just, there's no, because now at least you can get the free of chemical or like, scent free stuff. So at the very least, give me the scent free. Like don't bombard me with this stuff. So I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to do a quick fire round of questions, Jayme. Okay. So this is a surprise. It's supposed to be fun. First thing that comes to mind, don't overthink it.
All right.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
I'm an early bird now. Yeah, I used to be a night owl. Now I love a good
morning.
Bless
you.
Yeah.
Bless you. Favorite color?
Cool tones, blue or black.
Oh, okay. Blue or okay. Yeah. Okay.
Blue. Green, black. Yeah.
Okay.
But pink too.
Which one?
Pink.
Oh, pink. Oh, pink. Throw in some pink. Okay. What's the first paying job that you ever had?
Well, I would say my first paying job was my grandfather, who would pay me literally he would give me a knife and he would give me an old bucket of coffee and he would say, go and pick off the gum underneath the table. We had a restaurant. So the little people that put your gum underneath the table, I got paid really well to remove that. But like at first, I was young. I was like, all right, sure, let's go. And so, summer days at the restaurant, he was like, go here. But I worked at, without not being the restaurant, I worked at a bagel bakery.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Favorite bagel flavor?
Now I love cheddar jalapeno.
Cheddar jalapeno. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite cuisine?
I love Thai food.
Okay.
I love a good papaya salad. Okay. I love a good steak right now.
Okay.
And I love some good like Mexican food too. Nice. I also love pasta. Like I don't know, I can't.
You just like good things.
I'm a foodie.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I don't know that I could answer that question either, to be honest. It's me being a very evil person asking that question. If you could bring only 3 Laurel products to a deserted island, what would they be?
Recovery balm, hydrating elixir 2, And the balance serum.
Okay. Shibuya.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What's your favorite band or singer?
Oh gosh. I don't have a favorite band or singer. It's just kind of like the favorite movie. Like it, yeah, no, it
Too
can
hard?
just kind of vary, again, based off of mood, what I'm feeling.
You have like a Spotify playlist you play during treatments, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what's the name of it?
Forest bathing.
Forest bathing. Okay, we'll just go with like you're a forest bathing girl.
Yeah, so like when people do the Spotify stuff, it's like spa music. It's not like
Yeah.
fun like music that I would listen to on the daily. I guess I have right now probably Mac Miller is like a top artist and Leon Bridges is a top
Oh, cool. Yeah,
artist.
yeah. Good old
Aside from spa music.
Spawn. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, naturally. Okay, what's one phone app that you can't live without?
You know what? Take all my phone apps.
Take them
Give me
all.
a flip phone.
Oh, yeah, I feel you on
You
that.
know,
Actually,
like yeah, I would like to not be so addicted to my apps. And if TikTok is gone, no. Which no, if they were gone, it would maybe be for the better, truly.
Oh, okay. So it's TikTok, but if it's not TikTok, that's fine.
No, it's not TikTok. No, my favorite app.
Well, or you're just your business scheduler, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
That one's important, right?
yeah. The
Maybe that's
calendar app for sure.
there you go, the calendar app. We all need the calendar app when you're an esthetician. What's the one word you would use to describe your business journey?
Intentional.
Oh, I love that. If you could have any entrepreneur as a mentor for a day, who would it be?
Probably maybe the lady for sprinkles. I love me
Oh,
a good cupcake, but she's created quite
yeah.
the business.
I love that.
She's on Shark Tank even. Like,
Yep. Isn't her name like Candace or I have to look it up. Okay. All right. What is a book that has significantly influenced your mindset?
I
Or just
don't
a
know
book?
you'd ask me something about books. I'm gonna be honest, like I don't read a whole lot, so I can't even answer that. Like mindset wise,
Or just in general, is there a book
I
that you recall that you're like that book like landed for me?
probably The Simple Act of Not Giving a Fuck.
Okay, that counts. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Besides your own, what is another favorite small business?
Small business. Well, you know, I'm a diehard cyclist.
Yes, you are.
So there's a few amazing spin studios here in the Valley, and one is Power and Flow. One is the Underground.
You could say Laurel.
I could say, yeah, Laurel for gosh, I'm a huge advocate of Laurel for sure.
Yeah.
Laurel, Extreme Beauty, we
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of, Melissa has an amazing group of ladies there that do everything from makeup to skincare to body care to hair care.
Yeah.
I have a line that I love for skincare, but aside from that, I zip up there all the time for a lot of things.
Love that.
And especially if you have chemical sensitivities, having those options, and then supporting a local business versus say like Amazon or something is nice.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
If you could instantly acquire one new skill, what would it be?
Maybe either the ability to like fly
There
or
you go. Right.
like breathe underwater.
All that stuff. Right. Yeah. Right. But which one? Fly or breathe underwater? Both?
Probably fly.
Fly. Okay.
You just kind of zip to places
Yeah,
and
right.
land and a zip to another place.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that actually teases up for this one. If you could time travel to any period in history, just fly on over. Which era would you visit?
Like the 1950s, 60s.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I'm
I
here
don't know, too late, you know, like women like had like no rights and stuff like that.
Right. Okay, and if you weren't doing Xyyla,
Yeah.
what else might you be doing?
If I wasn't doing Xyyla, what else would I be doing? Someone once asked me if there was one career that you could do that maybe isn't an option anymore. I always thought it would be fun to be a pilot. Like when I was 18, 20, go into the military, Air Force, Navy.
Okay.
Completely strange, weird. Like that is one thing that I wish that I could maybe possibly go back and do. Other thing lately that's been on my mind that if I was also young and going to college, the world of plastics is advancing in a space. And as I work with people who, want a little like it is just amazing what plastics is doing.
Like plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And then also, like people who, maybe had like implants or something, those are being removed and like using your own stuff to kind of put in other places. So plastics is fascinating.
I was going to say, like, because obviously wellness and skincare, those industries are rapidly evolving. So I was going to say, like, in the future, like, what's exciting to you? And you're like, plastics. Okay.
Plastics is exciting. Yeah. Yeah. Like the integration of, say, plastics and holistic care, I think would be phenomenal too.
Like what could that look like though? Like when you
well,
say
in the Water School of Manual Lymphatic Drainage with Aztec, you do provide your taught kind of where lymphatic movement can truly support the outcome of, say, said facelift. People can come and see you 2 to 3 days consecutively right before your procedure.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing a lymphatic specialist the day after, really to get that fluid moving. And what that will do will feed the tissues, which will help with healing, which will help with repairing, which will reduce and minimize bruising, which will then give the physician and you the desired results, right? So and it helps with scarring. Like that's another thing. I had a gal come in and she had a procedure, and she had some kind of like buildup in like, the back. And so we did some fascia lymph work. The next day she's like, oh my God, like I cannot believe how much better my scar is feeling. And so, yeah, like, fascia work, lymph work, nervous system work, all support your nervous system and immunity, right?
Yeah.
Which then help with your healing to, say, maybe something like that. But yeah, maybe that would be great, is more combining of the two.
Yep.
Exciting. I always love, as I've gotten older, I value spending money on someone else providing me services, right? But we do a lot at home as well. And I think there's a lot of advancement with like home masks, home laser masks, red light masks.
Yep.
Things like that I think are really exciting as well.
Yeah.
But I also truly believe and value spending money on someone else to offer you service too.
Yes.
But, yeah. And sometimes I think I'm excited for maybe, less is more, right? Too.
Amen. Like flip phones. Okay. What does wellness mean to you?
What does wellness mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
Wellness is also kind of like that sustainability. Like it's just so big, right? Wellness is just kind of feeling comfortable in your skin. It is doing what resonates with you at the time.
Okay.
And so if that wellness looks like you stepping outside and getting some sun and like having the wind in your like hair, that's amazing. Wellness could also be having a routine of, like a workout routine that resonates, to red light, to going to a studio for biohacking or whatever your wellness looks like.
Yep.
Yes.
Like honoring thyself is honoring. I mean, because you talked a little bit about that with just like the rituals and, giving yourself grace for things like that. So, when you wake up in the morning, and you spoke about this too a little bit, where every day that you wake up, it could look different. But are there any things that you do where if you don't do that thing in the morning, you're like not as delighted with the day maybe? So it could be anything. Or is it just like, nope, there's nothing like that. Like for me, I definitely prefer if I have a decent cup of coffee. Like for me, that's one of the things for me. Anything like that for you?
Yeah, like a cup of coffee for sure. Probably. I also love, I shower quite often in the morning. Like I love to shower in the morning. I also love showering at night because I like to kind of just wash away like my day.
Yeah.
I didn't shower too much, but, but but no, that can look different based off of kind of where I'm at, because I can be so like go, 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 go in this like routine.
Right.
And then like if I go on vacation, like I'm okay like not doing that. It's kind of completely different. It's adaptability, right? And so I just try not to get so stuck on that one thing that I have to do. I have noticed actually lately, I have integrated a stone and I kind of carry it very close to my heart.
Oh.
And so this stone, I won't go into which one it is, but I've noticed a sense of ease and contentment. And I'm already a pretty easygoing individual.
Yeah.
But the one day I forgot it and I was like, what is going on? I was like irritable in traffic. I was just irritable when I got to the office. And I was like, oh, I forgot.
Do we all need this stone, Jayme? Like, is this something that the whole entire world would benefit from? Everyone holding on?
Maybe.
It
I
sounds
don't
like
know.
this is a stone that the universe can use right now.
Yeah, it was. So I've been kind of, like, I'm like, do I have it? So that's one thing right now that, I can tell like when I accidentally forget it.
So stone, shower, and coffee.
Stone, shower, coffee, my little snuggles with my dog.
Okay. That's it. That's good.
Yeah.
Simple. All right. Where do you see Xyyla like in the next few years? So any
Yeah.
plans or anything where you're like, I'm really excited about fill in the blank?
Yeah. Well, I just did a post. I am going to be offering in-studio advanced massage modality classes to all the people who want to learn. And we're going to start with gua sha, and who knows, this could then kind of roll into connective tissue support, facial reflexology, truly kind of anything, right?
Yeah.
This is for non-professionals to start. And then maybe roll into offering trainings for professionals. I've been asked if I train. I've been advised that I should start training professionals, which is a very sweet compliment. And so that's in the works too. Hopefully at one time. I am also in very early stages of chatting with my mentor in regards to becoming more of a trainee. So yeah, the emails are being sent.
Very nice.
So that means like my role within Xyyla might shift a little bit. I'll still offer services, but I would maybe like to be more of a leadership, mentorship. And then that then means hiring and growing Xyyla into a little team, right?
Yeah.
So there's all of those things. Yeah, I would love to see this be a resource for many other people and many other communities. So, yeah.
Very beautiful. Okay. What is one piece of advice that you would give to someone that wants to start their own business? Coming from a lineage of entrepreneurs, Jayme, what's one thing that you would say?
One piece of advice is trust your intuition. You go into a business, everybody kind of wants to dibble dabble with what they think is best. Create the vision, stick with it, and trust your intuition. Don't cut yourself short. And truly, you are the only one that's stopping you from your potential. You know,
that's a dope.
The business is only as successful as you work. And I've learned this, so, and how much you put into the business. So you truly kind of, there's so much more. There's what else can happen, right? It's you as an individual that might get in the way. So,
okay.
And I'm learning that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you were hoping we were going to talk about?
Did we touch base on everything? Did we get everything?
I think so. Yeah.
Any questions that you have for me?
No, I feel like that was a pretty pretty vast discussion of holistic skin health and therapies and different modalities, and a good PSA for you. And it makes me think that if anybody ever wants to get plastic surgery, they should do it near you, because
I never realized that I would have a holistic esthetician and so much plastic surgery talk.
Yeah, right.
But I didn't realize it would go that direction.
But I feel like that's interesting. I mean, it does make sense, if you are going to do something like that, because I think for people that get to a certain age where, they might want to like pull certain things, there's a right way to do it,
I
likely.
mean, like now also with like excitement is also like surgeons are kind of realizing that, hey, like Botox and fillers, like it's not leaving your system. It
Ooh.
sits there. It causes
Oh, I
cellular
know. Okay.
damage. Like, and
Let's
so
talk about
they're kind of waking up to not there. Like the science is showing that, maybe, cause you can spend probably, I mean, I don't know how much a vial of filler is, and people are putting quite a few amounts of filler into their face. And if you put that into your piggy bank, you could go have like a more permanent solution that
Oh,
is more
yeah.
natural, and you're not putting some lab derived ingredient into your skin. That your skin truly, learning about your lymphatic system, your lymph nodes hold on to all of that. It's not like 100% flushed out. And
Yeah.
so if it's a non-organic substance chilling your lymph nodes, then the body's going to be like, hey, this is a foreign substance. Like, they will, so, yeah, I'm a component of, supporting people. There was a time in my career where I was like, absolutely not. I can never.
Okay.
And I offended some people at a table, right? I didn't realize it at the time that small statement of how dare you? Oh my God, I could never was offending people. And so now, I have my own opinion. People have their own opinion. People have also the ability to research the pluses, the
That's right.
minuses, the pros, the cons. It's your terrain.
Mm-hmm.
It's you, right? You kind of live with, and I'm here to maybe influence one way or another in one way, right? So,
Yes.
but I'm all about supporting the decision that you made and not like putting any guilt on anybody for any decision that was made. And so for me, I would personally, when and if the time comes, rather, use like my body or, do a little something with like my own systems than, bringing in, I never really spoke of this, but like I don't use lab isolated or lab derived ingredients. And there's a reason because, there's some science that shows it shortens like your telomeres, right? Which is like your DNA strands. So you just try to limit them when possible. So,
I think okay, let's punctuate with this. If you were going to give a piece of advice to your younger self, so like, what would you tell tell you? What would you tell yourself?
Well, I truly believe in starting like a cleansing, like a relationship with yourself at an early age. So like I started that relationship super early, and then like getting facials at an early age is so beneficial in preventative measures. And people oftentimes skip that like monthly facial and they kind of just do it like once or twice a year, which is also great. But you can go so far with a good at-home routine that sticks with you. So it's not like jumping around. So it's finding what resonates with you and sticking with you.
Yes.
And continuing with that, and then getting in-service treatments as often as you can, or feel that it fits your lifestyle.
Yep.
But then I would just say like the body doesn't need all the stuff, like, right? Like, I feel like it's only an American thing. Like when you look at other countries, like they're not like inundated with like water bottles and products and like all of this stuff, like, right? So,
Yep.
A less is more is just kind of, maybe what I need at a younger age. And then also like perseverance for sure, like not giving up.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay. All right, Jayme, share all the ways all the people out there, how can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me. I am located in Phoenix, where I offer facials. I also pop into Boise, Idaho on occasion. I have a website, which is www.xylaskin.com. And then my social platforms are at Xyyla Skin as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Jayme, so happy to have you on the Dean's List. You are definitely on my perpetual Dean's List. I'm grateful to know you and to have experienced and benefited from your magic.
Oh, sweet.
No, it's true. All right. So with that, we will see you in the treatment room. And,
yes.
And I appreciate you.
Soon.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
And thank you all for tuning into this episode of the Dean's List. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform to stay updated and follow us on Instagram at official_Dean's List and YouTube at It's Official Dean's List. I'm your host, Allison Dean. Until next time.